We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and this is our first episode, and what a strange journey it's been to get here. In only 10 months, the Biden administration has caused America to surrender to the Taliban. We've had a disaster at the southern border, lost credibility in the eyes of the world. We've seen inflation shoot up at unprecedented levels, and our economic growth slow. Yet the politicians and biased media want you to believe we're in good shape. Well, fortunately, the American people aren't that stupid. According to the latest polls, 70% of Americans feel we're on the wrong track. Why? Because we are, and we're here to give you the facts. Today, we're going to talk about Biden's Build Back Boondoggle. This bill is ridiculous. Now, let's go back about a year or so. We had liberal universities come out with the statement that math is racist because it requires you to get the right answer. Well, sure. Of course math is racist, because if you can do math, you can see that the Democrats are lying about funding the Build Back Boondoggle. The Democratic call to raise taxes on the wealthy will not cover the costs of the bill. They keep talking about this. Nobody making under $400,000 is going to be affected. This is an out-and-out lie. Forbes magazine said, quote, "The administration's claims that the plan is paid for are not remotely credible," unquote. Why? Because the bill is funded by a shell game. The programs are only funded for between 1 and 6 years, depending on which part of the bill you're talking about. The costs are spread out over 10 years. So you have more than half of the plan unfunded in the current version, because they know that these programs will not be repealed when the funding runs out. Government programs are almost never repealed. So they're not funding the entire plan. They're just funding a little piece of it and kicking the can down the road so they can say, oh, Republicans are voting against this. Well, hopefully all Republicans will vote against this. Hopefully all moderate Democrats will vote against this, because this is a disaster. On top of the fact that it's not actually funded, the plan raises taxes on businesses. Well, what happens when you raise business taxes? It raises inflation. Why? Because taxes are a cost on the business. When costs go up, prices go up. This is economics 101. And not only don't the Democrats understand this, Jen Psaki actually came out and said, oh no, there's no way businesses will raise prices in response to the raised taxes. They think they're going to just cut the profit margin. Well, guess what? This is going to affect small businesses. Most small businesses have a razor-thin profit margin. Actually, a lot of large businesses have razor-thin profit margins. They are not the money-raising programs that the Democrats seem to think they are. Businesses have costs. They have to meet those costs. So when the costs go up, like raising the minimum wage, like raising taxes, prices go up. I don't know what world Jen Psaki lives in, but it certainly isn't the real world. As inflation goes up, the costs of the plan goes up. So they're not just raising prices for us, they're raising the cost of their own plan. So not only are they not covering the costs now, they raise the costs over time, ensuring that it raises the deficit and they will never be able to pay for this. This shouldn't come as any surprise. Government programs never cost what they say they're going to cost. And it doesn't matter which party is championing those plans. Take a look historically. Government plans to raise taxes never bring in the revenue they think they will. And the plans they spend on always cost more than they anticipate. And while the Biden administration is claiming that this will lower inflation, that simply isn't the case. The administration also claimed that the inflation we're experiencing now is transitory. Well, what does transitory mean? According to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, we're going to be seeing this inflation until at least the second half of 2022, over a year of the fastest rising inflation we've seen in decades, if not history. That's not transitory. This simply goes to show that the Biden administration and the progressive Democrats do not understand the economics behind this bill. And the bill doesn't even do what they're telling you it does. The Biden administration wants you to believe this bill will create jobs. Well, to give them, some credit, it will create jobs, but not in America. The switch away from fossil fuels that they're putting in here requires the mining of rare earth elements to build batteries, to build solar panels. Guess what? These elements are not mined in the United States. They're mined in China. They're mined in Afghanistan. So jobs are being handed over to the Chinese. And on top of this, mining these elements causes more environmental damage than oil and natural gas do. The destruction of the batteries, of the electric cars, of the solar panels, of all of these things that the progressives are pushing to help quote unquote save the planet, cause massive environmental damage. Don't believe me? The United Nations has put out a report on the damage that these will do to the environment. Go look it up. You can find it on Google. So, yes, this big climate change social infrastructure bill is going to hit our economy hard, cost us jobs, cause more inflation, not help the environment. This does not do anything but put in place more big government. And that's what the progressives really want. They want control. This has nothing to do with the environment. This has nothing to do with the economy, because this bill will damage all of it. It's going to hand control over our energy supply to China. The bill is not paid for, and it's going to cause more environmental damage. That's the raw, naked truth. I'm Eric Lopkin. See you next time.